education. I don't really have an explanation. So I found a new game to play. Thought I told you to stay away, but see you're here anyway. So yeah, guess you're welcome to overstay. Just don't build up your expectations. It's not a good time to test my patience. And don't get in these situations. Cause you're chasing the hurricane, taking the name in vain. My God, it's such a shame. Cause you got yourself into this. It says enter at your own risk. No, your name is on my list, and you are exactly where I want.
This may not seem like that big of a deal to so many people, but when you have spent the entirety of 10 years online building your platform and making a niche for yourself that is a part of your identity and branding and name and past, to shift your focus so heavily and to not be ready for that focus to shift, but to have no say in it, I can't help. It's really difficult for me to accept that I am different now.
Awful, scary, hateful, heartbreaking beliefs.
A lot of people that behind the scenes I actually caught red-handed lying, which I would never name names, but there were some people out there who made videos that straight up lied. I actually got apologies for some of those lies later.
If Judy Smith out there was an influencer that I supported and tomorrow she was liking pictures of her kids being at a KKK rally, I sure as shit wouldn't be supporting that person anymore. Period, end of story.
Very anti-LGBTQ plus practices.
It does seem that this whole school is going to be on Christie's property.
Cause you got yourself into this. It says enter at your own risk. No, your name is on my list, and
If this was not Raw Beauty Christie, if this was anybody else right now, I mean, this would be huge. This would be huge.
If somebody was to ask me what kind of mother I am, I think a lot of people would more so broadly associate me with being a crunchy mom. Breastfeeding my kids? Check. A natural home birth in my kitchen? Check. Feeding my kids healthy food as much as humanly possible? Check. Gentle parenting? Check. However, with me personally, there are limitations to this. I breastfed my kids until they were 2 and 5 months because I'm not killing myself to breastfeed for a whole year. Although I advocate for home births, I have absolutely no issues with anybody, even including myself, having a medicated hospital birth. I feed my kids healthy food as much as possible, but I would be lying if I said my air fryer didn't hold it down for me when there have been some hard days. I'm a gentle parent, but I also recognize that no is a complete and full fucking sentence. And my kids need to know that regardless, what I say goes. So I'm crunchy to an extent. I'm more like crinkled rather than crunchy. However, the concept of a crunchy mum is usually somebody who embraces more natural and holistic approaches to parenting. This often includes practices such as attachment parenting, homeschooling, unmedicated childbirth, as well as an emphasis on organic and sustainable living. Crunchy moms tend to reject mainstream medical advice, leaning more towards alternative therapies, as well as more natural remedies. And whilst many of these behaviors may seem extremely innocent and more indicative of somebody who is just more in tune with a desire to promote health and well-being, but more recently, a curious and extremely interesting trend has been emerging here, as some crunchy mums have found themselves drawn into more extremist and radicalist ideologies, some that many would consider to be far right. This phenomena, often dubbed as the crunchy mum to alt-right pipeline, highlights how certain underlying belief can make these types of women become more susceptible to radicalization, especially in the digital age. Crunchy moms are characterized by their preference for non-mainstream approaches to motherhood and family life. They might avoid processed foods or favor co-sleeping with their children and distrust vaccines or conventional medicine. This lifestyle often promotes self-sufficiency, personal responsibility, and a skepticism of large corporations and government institutions, especially in relation to healthcare, agriculture, and education. For most crunchy mums, these choices are motivated by a desire for personal empowerment and a rejection of consumerism, and a pursuit for a more healthier, more connected relationship with their families. The roots of this movement can be traced back to the cultural ideals of the 1960s and 1970s, particularly the Back to the Land movement, which emphasized sustainability, natural living, and a rejection for corporate control. And whilst there is nothing really politically radical about these practices, certain elements of crunchy mom culture, skepticism when it comes to authority, a distrust in institutions, and a desire for purity can create fertile ground for conspiracy theories and extremist ideologies. Introducing Raw Beauty Christy, a content creator who for the best part of a decade, people really would have considered their unproblematic fave. In the beauty industry, an industry that is dominated by LGBT voices, she was the people's choice. From using her voice to advocate for LGBT people to having the support of the LGBT community. I think it's more than fair to say that Raw Beauty Christy built her entire career off the backs of the queers. However, more recently, Raw Beauty Christy has gotten herself involved with a anti-LGBT organization and has chosen to homeschool her children so that they won't be indoctrinated into a school system that the organization has dubbed as having an agenda. Raw Beauty Christy turning her back on a community that has built her definitely did hit a lot of fans hard. And the sad thing about it is, she isn't even willing to discuss it. To at least stand 10 toes behind her thoughts and opinions and views in the same way that Amanda Ensing did when she acknowledged her Maga support. Now let me make this known, I do not care what it is that people choose to like and support. I believe in freedom of speech and all of us having the liberty to decide what we want to decide as human beings of our own volition. I don't believe in Sky Daddy. However, I'm not about to shit on somebody for believing in Sky Daddy. That's your beliefs. I respect that. So quite frankly, I actually don't really care what Raw Beauty Christy thinks. But what is actually genuinely concerning for me is the lack of transparency between herself and her audience. An audience that she has cultivated with more left-leaning ideologies. And if this new belief system is at direct odds and conflict with an audience that she has fostered for over a decade, I believe that they have a right to know. This is the equivalent of finding out that like a work colleague that you went to work with is like a H3 fan. It's kind of like, oh, that sucks. Like it doesn't change anything for you, but it kind of sucks that they didn't say anything earlier. You might have probably thought about that friendship a little bit before you got invested, you know? So if Raw Beauty Christy isn't going to say, I'm going to look at her actions and behaviors and assume, so that you, the audience, can decide for yourself whether you want to support this kind of rhetoric that I personally believe is sick. But not as sick as I was when I filmed today's advert. Every time I'm just going to slide these in, these stupid segues, I'm just going to slide it in, bitch. Just when I tell you that I am the sickest person who has ever been sick, but it doesn't matter because today's video is proudly sponsored by Midas Merch. Now, we all know who Midas Merch is. Midas Merch has sponsored the channel once before, and they have come back again to offer you guys a very unique deal. Midas Merch is a unique merge game where you discover and nurture the most amazing creatures and gardens. It was created by the same designer of The Sims 3 and 4, and the level of detail in this game is amazing, so you know what it's giving. As you can probably tell, I'm extremely sick right now. And as a busy mother of two, sometimes it's really difficult to just sit down and be sick. And playing Midas Merge is a way for me to literally sit down, relax, and take the time out it is that I need to just finally just be sick. And whilst being sick, this time around playing Midas Merge, I have managed to unlock so many different creatures who have all had a great time eating fruit and pooping sunshine in the Garden of Gold. This game has been really fun and really relaxing and has allowed me to completely switch off, because the good thing about Midas Merge is that you can play it offline, meaning that I don't have to be connected to the internet or anyone. I can just enjoy my free time, which is necessary because apparently the only time we get free time as adults is when we're sick. Right now, Midas Merge is giving away a $500 Amazon gift voucher. All you have to do to be in with a chance of winning is download the game using my link, which can be found in the description box down below, or using this beautiful QR code over here. Play the game and get to level 10 of the game to be in with a chance to win a $500 Amazon gift voucher. One winner will be selected within 7 days of this video going live. So make sure that you follow the steps in its entirety. Game rules will be linked in the description box down below, and the winner will be selected by Midas Merge. So go forth and test out this free game, get to level 10, and maybe you will be in with a chance of winning $500 in an Amazon gift voucher, which I'm sure, I imagine, will help a lot of people, because guess what? We are halfway through the year. Christmas is coming right around that corner. It is like whiplash. So if you are looking for a game that is going to wrap you up like a warm, cozy blanket of relaxation and allow you to finally, just finally, get a little bit of me time in, definitely check out Midas Merge by clicking the link in the description box down below or using this beautiful QR code over here. And if you get yourself all the way to level 10, following those steps, you could be in with a chance of winning a $500 Amazon gift voucher. I mean, what is there to lose? Thank you so much to Midas Merge for providing a very well and much needed distraction for me during this time. And without further ado, let's get straight into the rest of the video. I'm gonna cough some more. Yep. Hi guys, what is up? What is good? What is Gucci? It is your girl Paige Christie here, bringing you yet another video. I just wanted to say briefly a massive thank you to every single one of you who supported the last video. I really thoroughly enjoyed putting it together, and I'm really enjoying this new era of time on my YouTube channel. I'm like having a blast. Thank you guys for waiting while I took a vacation with my mum as well. She had a great time in Mexico. We celebrated her 63rd birthday. Beyond that, I also wanted to update you that I have a video coming up soon to do with Bridgerton. I don't know how many Bridgerton fans I have on this channel, so if you are a Bridgerton fan, please make sure to let me know in the comment section down below, because I really want to know how many Bridgerton fans you have, because I have a whole thought about how the last season was a flop, but I want to discuss this in detail with my people. So I want to know where, like, are you guys my people? Have I found my community yet? Beyond all of that, I'm extremely sick at the moment, but I am getting better. So let's just move on into this video. Why do I always like have to interject and just say hello? I feel like it's rude if I don't continue without saying hello. But anyway, let's just get into today's video with chapter 1, which is who is Raw Beauty Christie? Because some of you guys may not remember or may have forgotten or might need a refresher. So let's have a quick walk down memory lane. Who is Raw Beauty Christie? Raw Beauty Christie is a 36-year-old beauty guru, vlogger, and social media commentator on YouTube. And yes, I'm going to call her a social media commentator. I'm sorry, if you do videos where you are doing socio-political commentary, be that on things that's going on in the influencer world or things that is going on in the beauty industry, like, it really doesn't make any difference. If you're talking about stuff, you're a commentator. And I would say that Raw Beauty Christie has garnered her audience, yes, through beauty, but also through her commentary. But as a side note, she makes product reviews, tutorials, and special effects makeup. She is a self-taught makeup artist from North Washington. Raw Beauty Christie started her YouTube journey on the 3rd of April 2013 with a video titled Welcome to Raw Beauty Christie. In this video, Christie introduces her channel and what we should come to expect from her passion, beauty.
Not everybody's gonna like you. Not everybody's gonna think you're the most beautiful person in the world. As long as you feel good about yourself, which is really what makeup's all about anyway. I don't wear makeup so that I can impress everybody else in the world. I wear it because I think I look way better when I'm wearing makeup, and I'm not gonna lie. They don't want to see what I really look like when I wake up in the morning.
Before her rise to fame, she had worked various different jobs and had been open about working various different jobs in Washington, from retail to corporate positions. However, Christie's life was far from easy, as Christie had expressed how financial challenges have propelled her own self-discovery. What made Raw Beauty Christie such a standout star, I believe, in the 2010s was her honesty, and how she would be open with the audience of her own personal struggles with mental health, anxiety, self-esteem issues, her weight. This parasocial bonding and this connection that Raw Beauty Christie had with her audience through the screen was exactly what made her one of the most relatable beauty figures of the 2010s. Her raw and unedited style gave her a refreshing edge. Instead of filtering out mistakes or moments of vulnerability, Christie leaned into them, making authenticity a part of her brand. I mean, let's just be completely honest and real and frank for a moment. This is not shade, but Raw Beauty Christie isn't the most conventionally beautiful woman in today's Western beauty standards. And this is not me shading her on her looks, because I know there's a lot of people out there who like to say that. I also would say that I am not conventionally beautiful by today's standards either. In a world full of Bella Hadids, I don't really feel like me and Christie fit in. But what drew people into Christie was her being the big girl, the one with the fupa, with the not so sexually attractive conventionally body. When Raw Beauty Christie won, it was like a symbol to her entire audience that they too could win at life. And another thing is, like, there's nothing overwhelmingly different or has more presence about Raw Beauty Christie's personality. And she was a good makeup artist, but she wasn't exactly the trend-setting makeup artist of the 2010s. So she wasn't really any less exciting than myself or you. But she benefited from, I guess, a normal privilege or an average privilege. And it's this weird privilege, I guess, that has opened so many doors for Raw Beauty Christie, because she was the people's choice. And that subsequently helped all of her channel's growths. Her main channel on YouTube has 1.1 million subscribers. Her Instagram has 500,000. Her TikTok has over 800,000. Her Facebook comes in as probably one of the lowest ranking with 131,000. And her Homestead channel that she shares with her husband Zach has over 150,000 subscribers. Now, one of the most significant parts about Raw Beauty Christie's persona online is her complete and utter openness about her personal life. She has been married to her husband Zach for many years, and they frequently appear in each other's social media content. Christie has been open about the couple's struggle with infertility, sharing the emotional highs and lows of her journey. In 2020, after years of trying, Christie and Zach welcomed their first child, a son, adding a new chapter to her life, both personally and professionally. And the influence of parenthood has also changed the way it is that she creates her content as well. We saw a lot more, baby prep videos and her journey to parenthood, as well as discussing the challenges of balancing her career and her private life. This again only strengthened her connection with the audience, who admired her for keeping it real in an industry that kind of tries to hide imperfections and often promotes an unrealistic image. Raw Beauty Christie has honestly helped shape the beauty industry and the culture towards more authenticity. Like, Raw Beauty Christie walked so that people like Michaela Noguera could run. Her success shows that there is a demand for realness in a world that is dominated by filters and perfection. And if you watch her content, she promotes self-love, transparency, and acceptance, consistently encouraging her followers to be themselves and to embrace their flaws, which was a kick-ass thing to do in the beauty community. The one community that has become a safe space for the queer community, where people are trying to embrace their identities and love exactly who they are. She embodied that ethos. Like, coming to think about it, it's like not really hard to understand how she became the people's choice. She was breaking down the barriers of society's expectations, making her a voice of change within the beauty community. Essentially, her honesty built her credibility. So when fans began to see a more dishonest side of Raw Beauty Christie in 2023, it's safe to say that many were shocked, but no one was more vocal than Peter Mon. Okay, so over the past few years, Raw Beauty Christie hasn't really been in very much controversy. I remember a situation that took place a few years ago between Raw Beauty Christie as well as Here for the Tea. Here for the Tea had done like some kind of subtweet or something around the time that Raw Beauty Christie had released a video. Raw Beauty Christie must have told her husband or something that it was upsetting her, so then he changed his name on social media to Here for the Salt. It was petty and stupid, but it did get the teabag lady really riled up, so it was a very fun time to be on social media. And then more recently, there is the situation with James Charles. Now, if you don't know, about 11 months ago, almost a year ago, Raw Beauty Christie ended up liking and I guess commenting on some videos or pictures of James Charles. A lot of people who saw that were extremely disappointed with her, and I guess her audience were asking, hey, like, do you support James Charles? What's the situation there? And instead of just, owning that she liked those photos or that she supports James Charles, or even, a lie like, my fat fingers must have slipped, girl, she basically hid from the controversy. Now, according to fellow commentator Peter Mon's recollection of events, what happened was Raw Beauty Christie had reached out to him directly to ask his advice on what she should do. She told him, according to Peter Mon's recollection of events, that she was unaware of all of the drama that had taken place over the years with James Charles, which absolutely nobody on this planet believes. It would be different if Raw Beauty Christie wasn't a content creator who had their fingers on the pulse of trends, especially things going on within the beauty community. Like a lot of Raw Beauty Christie's commentary style videos was really just her commentary on what is going on within the beauty community and industry. So despite all of that and the way that we know Raw Beauty Christie as a content creator, she really wanted us to believe that she just had no idea about everything that took place with Jeffree Star, James Charles, Tati Westbrook, Shane Dawson in one of the biggest stories to have taken place on social media in the 2020s. I do not believe you. So probably knowing that that answer really wasn't going to stick, she just decided to play the game of avoidance and chose never to discuss it ever again. This was at the dismay of Peter Mon, who essentially felt like she owed it to her audience to tell the truth.
I told you not to put it on Twitter statements, and I told you not to put it on Instagram, to do a video because that's where you make your money and that's where your following is, okay? You haven't done that, and now you're blocking people that are asking you nicely about this. You're deleting comments. And this is not the only person that's commented to me and said that they've been blocked by you. A lot of people have commented that to me. So this is apparently what you're doing, okay? It's problematic as hell. Christy, you are digging a hole for yourself that you cannot get out of, okay? And I don't know if that's because you've said things in videos that you know the excuse you use to me will not fly with your audience because they have watched you closely and they know what I didn't, and that the excuse that you're going to give to them is not going to fly because they're going to say, Christy, that's just bullshit because you did know about it. You've talked about it in other videos. Maybe that's why you haven't made your video, okay? But Christy, I was very kind to you on the phone. I told you that I did not hate you. I told you that I really cared about you, that I could not support you because of this, and I didn't understand it, and I was confused because it didn't seem to me. You shared a lot of things with me that I will never share on video, okay? Because they were very personal issues. Those are yours to share. I will never betray your trust on that, okay? Girl, come out and make the video. Come out and just share whatever you need to share that's the truth. But this deleting people and blocking people that are asking you, that should tell you that you need to come out. You don't want to address it. I don't know why. Maybe it's because people think that you, whatever. I don't know, okay? But at this point, when you're blocking and deleting people, they do deserve an answer from you. This just makes you look guiltier than sin. I just want you to know.
Thus, I guess, ended the relationship with Peter Mon and Raw Beauty Christie. And I'm assuming that it's a friendship only because I don't think there is a single influencer who would reach out to me for advice. I'm just going to throw it out there. And the only other controversy it is that I can really think up is the whole situation between Raw Beauty Christie as well as Jaclyn Hill. Now, if you guys remember, in 2019, Jaclyn Hill released her quote-unquote moldy lipsticks that went absolutely viral on social media. One of the people to really propel the virality of the contaminated lipsticks from Jaclyn Cosmetics was Raw Beauty Christie. She was the first one to start those looking at the lipsticks with a microscope thing that was taking place. I do believe the late Pretty Pastel Please also did something similar, looking at the lipsticks. However, more recently, Jaclyn Hill said that there were a lot of people who lied, and that one of the people who lied about the whole situation came out and apologized for lying and making things up.
A lot of people who lied about it, a lot of people that behind the scenes I actually caught red-handed lying, which I would never name names, but there were some people out there who made videos that straight up lied. I actually got apologies for some of those lies later because those videos were getting so many views. It was like the thing to jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah, and people will always try to get clout by bringing other people down. We talked about that with Manny yesterday. It's hard. People want to gain a platform by bullying others, and that's just something I will never get on board with.
A lot of people are suggesting that this is Raw Beauty Christie, as Pretty Pastel Please, which is the only other prominent person who did the microscope thing, has since passed away. Therefore, people don't really see it being an issue as to why Jaclyn Hill wouldn't just say who the person is unless the person was still with us. However, I will let it be known that a lot of people have seen Raw Beauty Christie and Jaclyn Hill being a little bit more friendly with each other on social media, despite the fact that for several years, Jaclyn Hill has thrown distinct shade towards Raw Beauty Christie on several occasions for the whole microscope thing. But beyond that, there isn't any real controversies when you think of Raw Beauty Christie. Nobody's really talking about a racist past. Or are they? Back in 2015, there was a drama that I was completely unaware of, that like through our research that we've been doing, that I was able to find here. So Raw Beauty Christie did a makeup look dressing up like a geisha. And a lot of people called that cultural appropriation. Now, whether it actually is cultural appropriation or just an appreciation, I don't know. I'll leave that for you guys to decide. But for me, it wasn't the thought process of whether this is cultural appropriation or not that really had me. It was Raw Beauty Christie's response, because this is what she had to respond to the audience with. Whilst wearing a sombrero, holding up the middle finger, she says in a post in 2015, "Oh hey, what's this? A sombrero? Cultural appropriation. I got about 10 comments today telling me how much my geisha photo was cultural appropriation and how racist and inconsiderate I was to do such a thing. Gasp!" So here's what I have to say. Fuck you Fuck this entitled 2015 whiny baby bullshit where it's cool to get offended about everything. Fuck this era of accusing everyone of being intolerant and oppressing. Fuck people who feel the need to always play the victim role. I am intolerant. I am intolerant of ignorance and accusatory statements, thinking that I was doing anything other than taking inspiration from beauty and putting my twist on it. I cannot stand that I can't even take something beautiful and recreate it because I am white and I'll be considered racist or appropriating a culture. Nothing makes me more mad. Fuck this generation of Tumblr crybabies and Instagram trolls. Think I should take the high road and not say anything in response? Nope. These cunts need to hear about how big of assholes they are. They need to realize that just because appropriation is a big word they feel cool saying doesn't mean that they get to say it to someone who is a makeup artist and recreated makeup. Wow, what a concept. Love you people who actually have brains and minds to think for themselves. For the rest with shitty comments to leave, F off my page, and if you don't, you'll be blocked. When I tell you that if you had turned around and told me that that was Raw Beauty Christie, I would have called you a liar. How on earth is this the first time I've seen this? And whether you think it's cultural appropriation or not is honestly neither here nor there. The part that really is getting me going right now is the way she's addressing people. Because the Raw Beauty Christie that I came to know was, Little Miss self-diagnosing, sharing every little piece and intricacy of my life. Delicate wallflower who doesn't argue or get involved in any beef or dramas or anything like that. So to see this side of her is kind of wild. And I was trying to work out how old she would be. We're thinking she's around 27, 28 years old. So this is not her while she was young. When we're young and we just be saying shit. No, she was an adult. At this point in time, goodness gracious. Now I will say that Raw Beauty Christie has apologized for something very vaguely in a set of tweets, but I had to share that one because this one really threw me for a loop. But beyond that, her controversies has been small. In comparison to other content creators, she's probably still one of the least problematic ones. So now that you know all of the quote-unquote bad things it is that Christie has been involved in, now let's take a look at her support and advocacy of more left-leaning ideologies. Her husband Zach has been seen to be an extremely big fan of a band called Leftover Crack. Wikipedia details Leftover Crack as an American punk rock band that was formed in 1998, following the breakup of Choking Victim. What are these names? Leftover Crack spans several different music genres, including hardcore punk, ska, and crust punk. They write mostly political lyrics of a radical leftist nature, opposing religion, capitalism, and authority. The name Leftover Crack is explained by STZA as being an oxymoron based on the idea that crack cocaine addicts are known for vigorous use and are unlikely to have any leftover crack. In 2017, Zach, Raw Beauty Christie's husband, posted a picture of some band promo from Leftover Crack, and this photo was also liked by Raw Beauty Christie. In 2014, Raw Beauty Christie was seen liking some more leftist posts. She actually reposted to her Instagram an article that says, "A 4-year-old girl asked a lesbian if she was a boy. She responded the awesomest way possible." And Raw Beauty Christie reposted this, basically telling her audience to go check it out. In 2020, as can be seen by this post, Raw Beauty Christie is tweeting about an anti-mask protest. And she said, "This is the most embarrassing shit I've seen in my 32 years. And this was on September 14th, 2020. So after having such an unproblematic past and still, even with controversy, being possibly one of the lesser problematic beauty content creators on the platform, you can imagine the amount of whiplash it is that the audience felt when they heard about the Upper Room Academy, a family cooperative. Okay, so basically, if you don't know what has been going on more recently that has caused a lot of people to have concern for Raw Beauty Christie and whether they should support her or continue to support her, well, it's because Raw Beauty Christie has decided to get herself involved in an organization, which is a cooperative homeschool by the name of Upper Rooms Academy. And Raw Beauty Christie plans and fully intends to have this homeschooling facility on her property.
I'm just very excited about all of this. I am so proud of our property. I'm so proud of our yard and so proud of all the amount of work that we've put in that is totally paying off. It's so beautiful, and being able to share it with so many people. We've been hosting a homeschool co-op here for like the last 2.5 months, and that's been wonderful, having so many kids be able to run around and play and help us plant flowers, and to have all the parents here. Yesterday we hosted a barbecue with 60 people, and that is the joy of my life.
Now, off the bat, this does not sound like something that's weird or strange or even bad. However, a lot of people have kind of connected the dots that maybe this homeschooling facility that will be on Raw Beauty Christie's property may have some alt-right ideologies, which is at direct odds with the audience it is that she has cultivated over the past 10 years. The video that started this off is a video to do with this school that was involved in a local parade. Now, for the privacy of the children involved in this video, the faces have been blurred. However, the original video, which is uncensored, is available still online to this day. And in this video, they show a bunch of kids just waving American flags, blowing balloons, but then holding up signage that has anti-LGBT rhetoric on it, such as "Don't mess with our kids," which, if you are unaware of who Don't Mess With Our Kids are, they are a far-right political group. If you go to the Don't Mess With Our Kids website, you will find a lot of anti-trans, anti-LGBT rhetoric. Like, for instance, in this section where it says, "Why does it matter?" It says, "If you ask Erin Lee, Colorado mother, why standing up for our kids matters, she'll tell you the unbelievable story of how her 12-year-old daughter was taken in by transgender indoctrination in just one 90-minute after-school club. Erin was a self-proclaimed sleepwalking Christian, but not anymore. Hear her story on why we must take a stand and say enough is enough, don't mess with our kids." Whose kids are they? The National Education Association believes that your children belongs to them, and teach and indoctrinate them the ways of the LGBTQ, social justice and beyond. Don't believe us? They'll tell you themselves in this unbelievable video.
After I listened to it, I stood up and said to the nobles, the officials, and stuff, "Don't be afraid of them. Remember the Lord, who is great and awesome, and fight for your families, your sons and your daughters, your wives and your husbands. Fight for me. Fight for me. Fight for me. Fight for us."
1 in 5 Gen Z self-identify as LGBTQ. There are states right now that are proposing laws to legalize kidnapping when parents refuse to affirm their child's gender transition. History tells us that when evil leaders want to control a nation, they go after our kids. It's time for us to awaken and take our place on this battlefield for revival and reformation in our nation. The arrows of the enemy are aimed at your children, your grandchildren, and the young ones who will carry the leaders of our nation. Don't mess with our kids.
It behooves us then to humble ourselves before the offended power, to confess our national sins, and to pray for clemency and forgiveness.
We must turn back to God.
We must turn back to God. We must turn back to God.
We must turn back to God.
We must turn back to God.
We must turn back to God.
I mean, for all intents and purposes, and this is just my personal perspective here, this is a hate group. This is the equivalent of the EDL in the United Kingdom. You can make it sound as political as you want it to, but essentially what you're promoting is hate to children. So when we see these beautiful kids being involved in this homeschool cooperative taking place and being hosted at the home of Raw Beauty Christie on her property, while these beautiful babies hold up anti-trans, anti-LGBTQIA+ rhetoric, I can understand why many people don't even want to move past this. What do you mean, Christy? What do you mean? Upper Room Academy. Here on the website, it says the Upper Room Academy is a family learning center and a homeschool cooperative that is an affordable solution for parents who desire well-rounded Christian school education for their kids. We offer through education that invites our Heavenly Father's heart into every part of the school day. Our goal for all of our teachers and our students is to feel an intimate closeness with our Father's heart as we worship, learn, and play together as a community. Now, these fundamentalist alt-right opinions and perspectives don't seem to have interjected themselves here, most likely because it's to lull you into a false sense of security that this is all about Christianism. This is all about Christianity. But then I ask my question, are there no Christian schools in Washington? Goodness gracious, there are Church of England schools over here in the United Kingdom. Is there no Christian schools? Why is it simply that you can't send your kid to a Christian school that entails what you believe? Why the choice for homeschooling? Is it because some Christian schools can still be extremely progressive? Now, if you go over to the Support Us tab, as you can see here, you will see a picture of Raw Beauty Christie's sister, as she is one of the co-founders of Upper Rooms Academy. She is a co-director alongside a person called Elizabeth Tritton. Elizabeth Tritton is the founder of Bloom Strong Ministries, which is also a non-profit organization. She does coaching sessions as well as one-to-one consultations. And she also seems to have a podcast too. Now, Raw Beauty Christie's sister, Katie, who is one of the co-founders of this cooperative school, has always spoken about wanting a ministry of her own. In fact, we found a video from the 3rd of September 2019 where Raw Beauty Christie's sister on a public website, can I just say this is public, available for the world to see, speaks about having a very close encounter with God and also wanting to do a ministry of her own, particularly or preferably in homeschooling. This is what she had to say way back when.
So I've been praying to God lately about showing me what he wants me to do with my life. I'm really happy in my life now. Everything is really great, but I just feel like I want to go further. I want a ministry. I want to be able to teach people about having faith, and anyway, we'll get into that. But so I was praying for that and I just wasn't getting any answers. And I was talking to my boyfriend, Sean, about how much I really just wanted God to just answer me so that I could have my life and just get started on it already. And so, you know, a few months go by and we start talking about it again, and I'm kind of frustrated. I just wanted things to happen, and I just felt like every day was happening and nothing was really happening. And so just one random day a few weeks ago, I actually shared the video on Facebook. It's called Crazy Faith. I found it on YouTube, and I'd never seen this pastor preach before. I'd never seen anything from him or even the church that he attends. And which is kind of weird because I'm constantly watching videos on YouTube from a particular pastor named Stephen Furtick. And so it usually just pops up all of his videos in my suggested feed. And I never ever have any other types of pastors on there, only the guy that I had clicked on. So the fact that this video was in my feed was kind of weird. And it just drew me in. I clicked on it. And my mind was blown after I watched it. And this guy basically tells you, you could watch the video, and you should watch the video. There's actually 4-part videos. 4-part videos. And anyway, but he says that he faithfully prayed for God to give him this church, and he prayed about it, and it happened, and it was a miracle, and the way that he got it couldn't have happened unless it was God. You've got to watch the video. Anyway, the things he was saying in there really spoke to me, that I really wasn't relying on God with my faith. I really wasn't. I hoped that God would do things for me in my life, and I hoped that God would answer me, but I just didn't fully believe it. I had a little bit of doubt, and the Bible says you can't have doubt within your faith. You got to believe it. And he was saying, one of the scripture verses is Matthew 21:22. It says, if you believe, you will receive whatever you ask for in prayer. And so I was like, okay, yeah, I see. And then he gave me Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. So my faith is in the things that I'm hoping for.
And judging by some older posts from Raw Beauty Christie discussing about whether she would homeschool her child and what resources that are out there and available for people who choose to homeschool, mainly cooperatively on her property, potentially. So it's almost as if Raw Beauty Christie was kind of putting the feelers out there to see how people would respond without knowing that it's so heavily linked to religion as well as anti-LGBTQIA+ rhetoric. But it's important to note that the initial video that went viral that started this whole discussion about the ethical nature of why Raw Beauty Christie has chosen to homeschool her children and what kind of indoctrination these kids will be up against is because in the original video of everybody at a parade having a great time for this school, people were able to identify Raw Beauty Christie's husband based on tattoo and tattoo placement, and people were also able to identify Raw Beauty Christie's son being among the many different kids who were holding up anti-LGBT signs. And this post initially, when it first went up, was liked by Raw Beauty Christie, which would lead many to believe that she definitely does support this ideology. Now that becomes a little bit of a problem when your primary audience, not just women, but a good chunk of gay men, might have an issue with you having your children hold up signs, basically alluding to the notion that they may have some kind of agenda to alter your children. Now again, if this is Raw Beauty Christie's thought process, okay, cool, that's you. I have no business caring about how you choose to raise your child. But I think for the parasocial relationship it is that she has developed between herself and her viewers, I feel like this is relative information for them to know so that they can choose to either support or stop supporting. Back in 2019/2020, Amanda Ensing, a very prominent beauty tuber on YouTube, made a very public stance and support for Maga. This was extremely conflicting for a lot of her viewers because again, she had cultivated an audience of gay people, trans people, people who fell under the LGBT umbrella because beauty is so closely associated with that community. She lost a lot of people who supported her, but she also gained a new following of individuals who had her exact same thought process. And it was because Amanda Ensing believed whatever in the hell Amanda Ensing believes, and the idea of losing subscribers, money, endorsements, following, etc. doesn't hinder the fact that she's still going to stand on what she believes. And even if you can't respect Amanda Ensing's ideology, you can at least respect the conviction behind what it is that she has to say. That in her brain, she was speaking on truth. And I respect that a lot more than somebody who is somewhat unwilling to agitate their community to stand by something that they clearly wholeheartedly stand behind. Because if you didn't, you would not be hosting this facility on your compound. But my real question was, has Raw Beauty Christie always been this way? Or has she had like a swift change in opinion and perspective? What is the crunchy mom pathway to radicalization? The The crunchy mom lifestyle or aesthetic can be a gateway drug, if you will, into radicalization and alt-right beliefs. One of the cornerstones of the crunchy mom lifestyle is a distinct distrust and profound skepticism in mainstream institutions, especially medical establishments and government regulations. I mean, I remember that Raw Beauty Christie had spoken very openly about her mother's cancer and how she believed for a short period of time that her mother had cured her own cancer before her mother subsequently developed cancer again and ultimately passed away. She has also spoken openly about being a hypochondriac, and one of her hypochondriac traits is also diagnosing other people. She speaks openly about a time when she genuinely believed that her son had cancer, that it caused her so much immense distress at the time that she couldn't sleep, like she couldn't function. She'd lost all concept of reality.
The reason I had my mental health crisis was, again, a health-related problem, but it was my son. I was sitting on TikTok and I was scrolling at night when I was trying to put him down for bed. I was already in a rough spot mentally. I was at the height of Googling symptoms, Googling, what do I have wrong with me? What is going on? So I saw a TikTok of a little boy that had been diagnosed with terminal cancer, and he was the same age as my son. And seeing that video, which I should have just quickly scrolled past, instead I watched the entire video and I started spiraling. I Googled symptoms of pediatric cancer, leukemia, and I convinced myself that my son had cancer. It was not a does he, it was a 100% certainty he has cancer. I started looking up petechia and all the different colors that skin can change. Does he have dark circles under his eyes? He does seem extra tired. He's very fussy. He can't tell me if he doesn't feel well because he's a baby. And my mind started spiraling. And I got into a state of fight or flight. And in that state of fight or flight, my nervous system shot up to the heavens. And in that state, I was unable to sleep for an entire week. In that week, I lost my mind. I lost my grip on reality. I was so unwell that I could not eat. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't think about anything but how terrible I felt. I felt like I was being thrown out of an airplane with no parachute. That is how heightened I felt in that moment. Pure adrenaline was running through my veins. My heartbeat was in the hundreds, just sitting because I was so anxious. I was sick to my stomach. I had convinced myself that my son had cancer. And why did he have cancer? Because of somebody else's kid on TikTok. And that is the nature of hypochondria and health anxiety.
Now, whilst I can admit that skepticism of institutions can be extremely valuable in a sense of providing valuable critique that must be addressed, it also opens up the possibility for conspiracy theories. Like the belief that vaccines are harmful, for instance, which a lot of people have also theorized could be the reason why Raw Beauty Christie is choosing to host this cooperative learning school on her property, because mainstream schools or mainstream Christian schools would require for the kids to be vaccinated, to be within close proximity of each other, as in order to not spread infection. There is also self-sufficiency and individualism. The idea that we should all be self-sufficient without any corporate control over what goes on inside our homes, what it is that we feed our bodies. It's the rejection of convenience in favor of traditionalism. So that's homeschooling, gardening, alternative medicine. Is it clicking? Are we clicking? Because literally over the past couple of years, all of these things have generally become what Raw Beauty Christie's brand is. If anything, I feel like we all should have probably seen this coming a mile away. Then we have the pursuit of purity. Crunchy moms tend to want to protect their families from perceived toxins. I distinctly remember a video some time ago where Raw Beauty Christie was putting up some wallpaper in her home, in like the child's nursery, and then literally had an emotional breakdown and tore the whole thing down because apparently the wallpaper had contained like a material that's bad for kids, like lead or something. And I looked high and low for this video, but I could not find this video anywhere. So I do believe it is taken down, but I did find a couple of Reddit posts that confirmed that this video that I remember in my brain definitely did exist at some point. Now, whether this wallpaper was toxic and harmful to a child wasn't really something I dared question or was active in finding the answers for. The point of the video that I really wanted to show you was like how she lost it, like completely batshit crazy lost it. The way that she was going on, it was almost like the wallpaper was out to kill her child. But this pursuit of purity, not saying that this is the case right now, can also spread into like ethno-nationalist points of view and like the rejection of multiculturalism, as in, you know, no browns allowed. Now, I'm not saying that Raw Beauty Christie in any capacity is a white supremacist, but what I'm saying is that like this pipeline that we're finding ourselves in definitely can spiral into those areas, or at least can be co-opted by those terrible, horrendous groups. But in my notes I have here for the pursuit of purity that like with Raw Beauty Christie, sometimes when she speaks about her son, the language can tend to be like, he's so innocent, he's so caring, he's so loving, and don't get me wrong, I love my son and he is all of those things, and my son is the same age as hers, but let me tell you, my son is also a menace to society. Yeah, but what is the most concerning thing about this to me when it comes to the radicalization of Raw Beauty Christie in this crunchy mom to alt-right pipeline is the echo chamber that she will undoubtedly be experiencing. Now, the good thing about the internet is that the internet opens you up to the entire world. You can see a spectrum of opinions and thoughts and ideologies and political stances, etc., etc. But when you live in the middle of the woods, in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by a predominantly white area, homeschooling your child amongst a bunch of other fundamentalist parents, you are very much isolating yourself and creating, I guess, like an echo chamber, which can also foster an environment where everybody becomes radical. We've seen it numerous different times. This kind of inability to hear any kind of outside perspective can lead crunchy moms who are just trying to get involved in the lifestyle, can lead them down increasingly radical paths, exposing themselves to the far right without even realizing it. As they interact with more extreme people, they can expose themselves to alt-right beliefs. And once exposed to far-right ideologies, crunchy moms may find elements of the far-right ideologies extremely appealing, as the alt-right frames themselves as the defenders of traditionalism and traditional values, something that resonates with many crunchy moms who reject the more modern and fast-paced consumerist culture. The idea of family values that the alt-right promotes seems to resonate with the crunchy mom's desire to raise her children outside the parameters of what she believes to be a corrupt and a more harmful society. And quite frankly, these alt-right movements often portray themselves as rebels against the corrupt system, somewhat mirroring the crunchy mom and her own narrative of resisting the system in favor of more natural and more traditional ways of living. This shared sense of being marginalized or misunderstood can foster a sense of solidarity with the alt-right communities, which led me to think whether even having these discussions surrounding the crunchy mom to alt-right pipeline, if that's only going to push her within closer proximity to the people who sound like her, who have her thoughts and beliefs. But like I said in the beginning, I don't care what it is that Raw Beauty Christie chooses to believe. If that's what you believe, you have the liberty to believe so. I don't care how she chooses to raise her children. I just know that my kids won't be fucking with yours. But weaponized with that knowledge, I know that I would never have my kids hang out with hers, ever. Because that's not an indoctrination I'd like my children exposed to. The same way that my more left-leaning ideologies may not be right for her and her family. We all have this right. But the point is that I have the knowledge to back my own thought process. process. And that by Raw Beauty Christie choosing to completely ignore, go out of her way to hide comments, remove comments from the comment sections, block words, and basically just play the game of avoidance again, is not really providing the transparency that the audience deserve, the audience who have supported, helped fund, like literally by watching her videos, people are still funding this school. Because I'm sure that a school on her compound is going to most definitely have her investment, am I right? So there's a huge part of me who believes that the audience deserves to know. And I'm not the only person who thinks so. There have been numerous different commentators who have spoken about the Raw Beauty Christie situation. However, it just feels like it's somewhat falling on deaf ears and that maybe people just don't care as much as we do.
Basically found out that Raw Beauty Christie has sent her kids to her, I think it's her sister's homeschooling thingy-majiggy, where they practice some very anti-LGBTQ plus practices. In a nutshell, people now realize that she has been hiding her anti-gay, anti-LGBTQ plus views on her main page. And this is, I mean, it's problematic in one sense, because I personally don't feel that anyone should be against the LGBTQ plus community. Not just that, but she has, I don't know if still does now, but she obviously is going to be affiliated and has been sent product and has been, you know, aligned with brands that are very pro LGBTQ plus community. So this to me feels very, very, very smoke and mirrors. I'm not here to like cause drama. I mean, I'm sharing drama. I'm mostly here because I was actually quite shocked to find out this news.
The thing that is really sad to me is the fact that not only is she promoting and making it very obvious that she is in line with these awful, scary, hateful, heartbreaking beliefs, but these children that are being used, they cannot consent to being involved in this. And like I said, this is going to follow not only her child, but also other children into adulthood. They are literally being used to spread a message that I would hope none of them agree with. And it's because their parents are allowing it to happen. Now, here's what I will say. I do think this pipeline is becoming more common, unfortunately. I am not disappointed or shocked or confused by Christy because I never really watched her content and I really don't care that much. But I want to take a moment and acknowledge that there are many people that have watched her for years, and whether or not they are part of the LGBTQI plus community, it is still so hurtful to those people that supported her. And now for her to be fully exposed in this, and when those followers go to her socials or on YouTube to voice their frustration, voice their hurt, their confusion, they are being blocked and deleted by Christy. And that is why this Reddit thread on Beauty Guru Chatter has 712 comments and almost 850 upvotes. Because this is the only way that people can voice their frustration and their anger, their valid anger at this being exposed.
But correlating the current education system to a fallen world is a manipulative hyperbolic tack, a place of rescue from the darkness and perseverance of a broken public school system. Now, I want you to notice that they never actually dictate what value that is. The reason why they're doing this is that it is fear-mongering is most effective when you leave the mind open to guess what those gaps are. People's imagination spans far wider than reality tends to span to. The mission is to provide a safe place for children to learn and grow in their relationship with God, building up a community of homeschoolers who are taking back their identities in Christ Jesus, which is strange because I feel like that's Anyway, we pray to be a seed planting cooperation for the kingdom of heaven. I also just live for the fact that I think the sentence structure of this isn't very good, and it's the school. We are also here to inform and equip other churches and or communities how to plant a school. There's grammar errors in it. We are also here to inform and equip other churches and or communities how to plant a school in your area. The Lord told us we would be a blueprint for more schools to come. We have faith and we are walking boldly with the world of our Father in our hearts. Now, I also know that I'm going to get comments about people being like, oh my God, you're so mean to people who are Christian, blah, 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 all that stuff. I'm not laughing at people who happen to be Christian. I'm laughing at the manipulative, profiting, borderline Christian, probably Christian fascists, because when they mean broken, they mean a school system that lets you talk about gay people. That's what it usually means.
And it's based off the views of this school that this co-op expresses, which is obvious homophobia and hate to the LGBTQ community at large. It seems to me that this homeschooling co-op is leaning more towards that. And based on these photos, it does seem that this whole school is going to be on Christie's property. So based on the school backing the Don't Mess With Our Kids, which is a hate group that says the agenda of the National Education Association is to indoctrinate the nation's children to be part of the LGBTQ community in some way. I'm not really sure what the potential end goal for this agenda would be. Like let's be for real for a minute. Let's be honest. What would be the point of this anyway? What is the point of making all of the kids in America gay or trans or pansexual or bisexual? What's the point of that?
But the one person who has been vocally consistent when it comes to raw beauty Christie and her tactics of avoidance, especially when it comes to any form of controversy, has been Peter Mon. And some words it is that Peter Mon said in one of his video as it pertains to raw beauty Christie really did touch me and resonated with me. I remember the first time I saw this video, I was on my way to Mexico and I had it downloaded to watch on the plane, and I watched it on the plane with tears running down my eyes, and then I sat down and I forced my mum to watch it too. Peter Mon's words were so touching as a older gay gentleman married to an immigrant who is incredibly fearful for what the future holds for him and people like him. Take a look.
Because I came out at a time where the public rhetoric was that gay men were getting AIDS because they deserved it. It was those beliefs that systematically oppressed gay men for 3 decades based on fear and fear alone. Also, religious organizations persecuted, and some are still persecuting, members of the LGBTQIA+ community based solely on fear. I believed in my heart that things had changed, but apparently that's not the case. At least not with some people. Fear is at the root of power to push misinformation and hate towards an ideology that just is not true. When we look at how people have tried to take down the LGBTQI+ community, they have used 5 mediums: health, spiritual belief, safety, children, and family. The 5 things most people hold dearest to their hearts. If people can prove that the LGBTQI+ communities are attacking these sacred things, then they have done their job in proving that we, who simply want to live our lives, are dangerous. And that's why this is so important for me to make this video today. She wants to support a school. She wants to support a mindset that says that we're trying to change kids in school systems, okay, or that teachers are trying to change kids in school systems to the point where you have to wear a t-shirt. Your kid has a t-shirt on that says, "Don't mess with our kids." So you really fully fucking believe, okay, that teachers are in school with their busy lives, that they're trying to make your kid gay or trans. First of all, the belief system that you can make somebody gay or trans is such fucking bullshit, it pisses me off, okay? And that's part of the stigma that we've been fighting for hundreds of years, that you can make somebody that way, okay? That you're not inherently born that way. It's ridiculous, okay? It's ridiculous that people want to say that. Oh, you can change somebody to think this way, but school teachers don't have enough going on in their own lives, okay? and then having to deal with school systems, they got enough time on there to take Johnny aside to try to like coerce Johnny into being trans. Like, are we even, this is ridiculous that we're coercing people to be trans, and we're talking about sexual action, sexual behavior in a school system, okay? Which also feeds into the stereotype that sexuality is completely based in sex, okay? It's something that I've had to fight for years and years and years when people want to ask me that are totally ignorant to the fact that I'm in a relationship with my husband, and you would not ask your mother and father, you would not ask your brother and sister, you would not ask your neighbor, okay? How they take it, where they take it, and when they take it. Yet people feel comfortable to ask gay men, are you the catcher or are you the pitcher? Okay, for fucking years I've had to deal with that shit. And so now we're playing this out in the school systems, and people want to ask me why I'm passionate about this. Fuck yeah, I'm passionate about it. It's my life, right? Gay men and gay women and lesbians in this country are terrified, okay, and this is the least of all of it, are terrified for our marriage rights, okay? Being repealed, being taken away. What will that mean? If I was married in Indiana state changes, this goes state by state. Will my marriage be legal? I'm not only gay, I'm in a biracial relationship with an immigrant from another country, all right? Let's just lay that out for you real quick, all right? Think about how terrifying this world is to me and my husband right now. Think about that. And in looking at all this, it reminded me of this quote that my mom loved about Eleanor Roosevelt, you know? And the quote is, where, after all, do universal human rights begin? In small places, close to home, so close and so small that they cannot be seen on any maps of the world. Such are the places where every man, woman, and child seeks equal justice, equal opportunity, and dignity without discrimination. Unless these rights have meaning there, they have little meaning anywhere. And I think what makes me the saddest about that is Christy has been somebody that I have looked up to through the years, and you know, I love the idea of her, you know, building this home that she loves and things like that, and I'm into coziness and homes and whatever, and this idea of human rights really does start in the home, you know? The way that I view the world and the way that I look at the world are things that directly I got from my mother and father. I believe that belief systems are taught. They are not inherently given to us. I believe that they are taught, you know? And hate rhetoric is taught. I too was raised, and I shared this in my last video, by a mother of very strong faith. And she taught me that to be a woman of God meant to love as you would love anyone else, not to spread hate. And I'm incredibly thankful for that.
So, what are my thoughts on this whole entire situation? There's a part of me that somewhat feels that Raw Beauty Christie was never the good person that she told us that she was, that she pretended to be. It feels like all of this is a farce. From the post back in 2015 where Raw Beauty Christie wasn't necessarily wrong in her thoughts, but was most definitely ignorant and antagonistic in her response. From that one random Instagram post that I was able to find on the internet, I saw the first glimpse into her character. That she pretended to be a wallflower who would never get involved in drama, but she does. But what happened was social media changed, and a more liberal social media presence was probably more valuable at the time. But I don't believe that she ever really truly believed these thought processes. It's giving very much the person who has like trans rights and the trans flag in their bio, but will still call them slurs behind closed doors. If it was simply that Raw Beauty Christie wanted to homeschool on her property alongside other kids in the community, I don't think anyone would actually give a shit. But it is the connection of this school and its close ties to Don't Mess With the Kids, which is an anti-LGBTQIA+ hate group, in my humble opinion, that is ruffling so many feathers, and quite honestly, rightfully so. Gay and trans people and just queer people in general, we're just here to exist. We're not trying to take over your children's minds, but we are trying to say that other things do exist. My daughter knows that Uncle Dustin and Uncle Nick are in a relationship together, and they are two boys who love each other. The realities of the real world that these children are going to encounter shouldn't be shielded from them. The idea of don't mess with our kids and the rhetoric they spill, It's honestly like the idea of conversion therapy. You can't turn somebody gay. You can't turn somebody trans. It's just who they are. The point of the matter is that Raw Beauty Christie doesn't have to answer to us. She doesn't have to answer to anyone, realistically. But she does need to uphold the honesty it is that she built her brand on. This woman has told us the intricacies of every single part of her life. We watched her birth vlog as she opened her legs wide and pushed out a kid out of her cul de cat. There is no place in this woman's life that is sacred. And that is no shade, girl. I'd do it too if I had the energy, but I could barely film mine. Her honesty about herself, her self-love, her self-esteem, her figure, her goals, her dreams, her aspirations for the future, her childbirth, her labor, her family life, her homestead, every part of her life has been open to the world and for us to be a part of that journey with her. So I question, what is so bad about her current and present journey that she feels that she can't share it with us? And I think that the point of the matter is it comes down to one fundamental thing, is that she knows that she will be dividing her audience if she does so. But out of all of the things that I've learned about the courageous, amazing, admirable, honest, with integrity Raw Beauty Christie, the last thing I ever expected to learn is that she's a coward. Anyway, that is about it from me. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed today's video. I really hate making these like more political videos, but I feel like it was definitely necessary for me to at least give some parts of my opinions and perspectives. I do want to make it clear just one final time. I know I've said it twice already, but I do just want to make it clear, whatever you believe is whatever you believe. Dude, my besties are Maga supporters. It might not be what I support, girl, but I love you. And I believe that everybody has the ability to choose and believe in whatever the hell it is that they want to believe in. I don't have to share your opinion to respect you as a human being. So I don't want anyone to walk away with the idea that like I condemn her for having these thoughts and opinions. I don't. I just want you to take the plunge and stop being a goddamn coward and tell your audience exactly what's been going on, instead of going and working overtime to try and hide it from all social medias. You're literally hosting this school on your compound. That's going to be at your home. You're going to open up the door every day and see that school. And honestly, if you're finding all of us on social media being like negative Nancy's and just annoying people who are a little bit too invasive, then honestly, then go forth and find your people. Instead of holding on to the people that you don't want to lose in fear of losing your income. Because all of this comes down to money. It's the same reason she wouldn't, make her stance known about the actual gay predator out there, fucking James Charles, my dude. Like, considering your opinions when it comes to the agenda that you want so far away from your children, that guy should have been the one that you should have really been forthcoming and stood up against. But for some fucking bizarre reason, we're not speaking up against the actual fucking gay predator that exists, that is within your community. But we're also not speaking up about being against an alleged agenda of the gay community or the queer community. And if this alt-right fundamentalist ideology has no part in the homeschool, then be forthcoming and tell the people. Because right now it's looking like our assumptions may be right. And once again, I would also like to say a massive thank you to today's sponsor, Midas merch, for sponsoring today's video. If you guys would like to get your hands on Midas merch, as well as having an opportunity of winning a $500 Amazon gift voucher, please make sure to check the rules in the description box down below. Click the link if you would like to download, or the other option is you can scan this QR code over here and make sure you get yourself all the way to level 10 to be in with an opportunity to win. Anyway, with that being said, I hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to give this video a like and a thumbs up if you like it. If you don't, I don't give a shit anyway. Don't forget to subscribe and to hit the notification with the bell so that you guys never miss a notification from Paige Christie. My voice is now slowly leaving me, so I'm going to say goodbye. And today's last word of the day will be, it's okay to mess up sometimes. What matters is how you react to it and the grace that you give yourself when you're trying to learn through it. And that goes for even you, Christy. I hope you guys have an amazing day or evening, whatever the hell it is that you are doing. And until next time, you beautiful, amazing, badass bitches. It's been Paige.